Bele, Dlambulo, Mbutho, Vaphi, Mnomana, Mdibandlela, Nondanda kuphakanyiswa, Ndabezitha, ndithi mandidanduluke ndithi Bele, langa lam lokulunga, akumnyama xa ukhona. Bakuthiya bathi ungusilumko, mhlawumbi bebesazi, mhlawumbi bebebone okufunjathisiweyo kwele mimoya. Allow me to bow to the great soul that resides in you, to the light that illuminates your path, to honor the awesome God that created you, to pay homage to the womb that carried you. Isizalo senkosazana yamampondomise. I salute the village that raised you, the father, uMikhayeli, that molded the men that you have become.
20 minutes before 8 here on the program. So this morning we're going to be continuing the conversation on leadership. And we still have in studio with us the Group Chief Executive of Altron, Mteto Nyati. And,
Against a backdrop of a volatile global economy, pedestrian growth in its home market, and rapid digital innovation that is changing the game for many businesses, Altron has remained resilient. The South African-born technology company has continued to grow profits and increase shareholder value.
Information technology company Altron says it's managed to reposition itself in the ICT sector following a change of leadership. It came out with its annual results for the year ended February 2018. It reported group headline earnings per share up 19% to 135 cents and says revenues rose 14% to 14.7 billion rand. The company says it's currently in the process of disposing of its power tech transformers business. Earlier, our markets anchor Nompumelelo Siziba spoke to Altron CEO Mteto Nyati.
Since its early days as an electronics manufacturer, South Africa's Altron has transformed itself into an IT and telecommunications company with an international presence. Lerato Mbele Roberts sat down with the company's chief executive, Mteto Nyati, to find out how Africa can position itself to take advantage of the world's digital revolution.
If you are employed as a CEO, what is your... I think our job is to fix problems.
It continues to ask the difficult questions. All of you who know Mteto, that power of the question. The question is not because he doesn't know the answer, it's because he wants you to get to the answer so that you can realize the full potential of yourself and actually solve the problem yourself.
He asks you a question to clarify himself. But at the end of the conversation, it's you who is clear about the point that you wanted to make to him. And he makes the conversation much more about the both of you than about himself.
But the amazing thing to me is that he didn't want to meet with a management team. He wanted to meet with the people from the floor. So to me, that will always stand by something I can remember Mteto about. So I wasn't personally in a meeting then, although I've met him that day. Looked one straight in the eye, warm handshake, and with interest asked, "How are you doing?" So to me, I felt humbled to see that that's actually how a CEO can operate. I was very impressed.
He wants to listen to people. It's not all about him talking, but he listens. And he wants to make the discussions to be very collaborative in the sense that he engages people in terms of being able to understand from them what do they think about the organization. Is he as a leader, has he as a leader and the ExCo team made an impact in the organization? And what is it that the employees think about the leadership that he's leading? And are there any other ideas or recommendations that employees will have that will help in terms of how he runs, how he leads? And that is quite remarkable about him in the sense that he always wants to listen to people.
He's a people-centric leader. When he had, was it lunch with Mteto? Where he chose, the first line of reports within the OpCos. And just that gesture for me said a lot, And as we sat around the table, and it was, sometimes people do that, leaders do that just for ticking the box, kind of. And he ran it, he sat, and he wanted to find out from each and everyone around the table. And he actually, some people said, "No, I have no questions." I said, no, you're going to have a question. You're here for a reason. And because he wanted to know. People mattered. He wanted to know what they felt, and he engaged, and he just didn't, and he was writing down, he was noting down, and he engaged with you. So what do you mean when, and I thought, wow, this is good. And people always say, when other people rise to the top, especially they'd say black people, when they get there, they change and all. And I said, this is an example that we should all live by and see that it's possible.
And I remember when Mteto came in, he came in with a zest for life, wanting to know what the employees look like, being on the ground, chatting to them, finding out what are the core issues that are affecting them. So I remember that he was having sessions with every OPCO, and that is every operation in this instance, just to have those focus sessions, find out what's happening, what is happening in your space, what do you feel, what do you think needs to happen, what do you think needs to change. So for me, that was very important because of the fact that he became human. He became a part of us and wanting to know what is going on and what needs to happen.
I remember on the day the announcement was made, in my WhatsApp group, guys who are top executives in different corporates, they could not understand the logic of Mteto going to join a company whose shares had not been trading on JSE because it was performing badly. That's basically the message that I was getting from different places as well. Yet Mteto saw opportunity. Mteto saw, a task that could be actually, executed, and his mind was right there.
For me, he's been an incredible inspiration. There's so many things I've learned from him. His humility, his ability to connect with people, to treat people with fairness. I mean, that for me is just incredible how he's able to just take all the noise out and just zone in on a human being and focus on that human being. Have the tough discussions. Man, have I been through some of those. But never forgetting the dignity of human beings through that process.
Wabana nagwena ineleta convention center ko Samasantheni. Afetsa o kriya All Africa Award. Kona ke monor o thabile. First thing fela tsena ka mara koloi. As no fetsa o tswalla a nna stel. O le monna rights king khola. Award e. Henge biska wena ninka sikre. Maybe ngebe kitle lata, ngebe kitimetse or ngebe ke tshwere ke traffic. Mara ka taba tsa hore re manage tse dilo tse tsotlhe le nako everything. Le wena wa deserve ntho. O itse le wena le bitso la o le teng.
He's a humble guy, man. I've never met a CEO in my life like so. You hear about CEOs, but the fact that he moved from his office, make time for us just to hear the challenges we are facing as graduates and the things that we need to be able to prosper in the program. It meant a lot for me.
If I need to think about two words to describe Mteto, first of what comes up to mind for me would be humor.
Because although he's serious, he also brings some humor to the table with his smile, and he throws in some jokes as he gives us his serious speeches. And he's fun to listen to, and he makes everything that he says simple to understand and humorous at the same time.
Mteto made a faux pas on a document, and do you phone him now or do you email him? How would you address this? And quickly on the email, just responding to him directly, not copying everybody in, Mteto, you did XYZ wrong. And the response back is, oops, sorry. I'm like, Mteto knows words like oops.
I've often wondered, how to describe, there's always this binary view of an extrovert and an introvert and how each one of those, operates. But Mteto does not fit within the introvert-extrovert binary view. Yes, he is more introverted, but actually is an extrovert within. So when he is in safe spaces, he's able to relax, and he's actually quite naughty. Naughty in terms of comments and jokes that he makes about things. Sometimes you almost think there's an inner child there that's waiting to explode, and he's really a lovely person, to be with in that zone.
I think he's very goofy. He just generally is someone who enjoys to be happy, to make jokes, to make other people feel good. He has a very loud and infectious laugh, and so when I first think of him, I think of those things about him.
So I just felt that, no, maybe I need to just go to the bathroom, look myself in the mirror and tell myself, hey, you are doing a good job. And then come out and then
So the other day, we were still in Parktown, and each time I would see him, because there were so many escalations about Altron Managed Solutions. So the other day, I saw him. He was coming through the passage, and when I saw him, I wanted to take the short left. He said, hey, Mamsi, it's not about you. I understand. Why are you running away? I'll never forget that. It was in 2019. He says, no, I didn't Dolores tell you. We understand that, employees can say things can happen, you can be escalated, but it's how you handle it as a leadership in terms of how do you resolve those issues. So don't feel so embarrassed. It was really embarrassing, but I like the way he handled it. Hence, I said earlier, he's a very empowering leader.
If there's one word I think I could sum Mteto up, is fair. I think there's so many examples that I've gone through with him, whether it is dealing with specifically difficult situations, sometimes not having the answer, and then getting the collective wisdom of people around him to get to a position where he understands everyone's point of view and exercising a value that I've heard him talk about before, but I've seen it in action, is that exercising of fairness. No matter how difficult the situation is, fairness is what really comes across when he's executing.
Uneqiniso kahle kahle akasebenzisi uthi akanawo uthina nawo ngoba wena umkhulu kuyena siyafana sinto eyi-one.
Umuntu okholelwa ekutheni ukuthi wonke umuntu nomuntu abantu bayafana yabona, so ukuthi wonke umuntu must be treated equally.
I was sitting behind Zipporah's desk on her PC, and Mteto walked in, and I actually got a fright. I thought, ooh, this is the chief, I mustn't be here. And I got up to leave. He says, no, Debs, sit. I said, oh, okay. And then I sat, carried on doing my thing. He spoke to Zipporah, and off he went. So, yeah, he's quite, I won't say intimidating, but ooh, he's the chief, I don't belong here. But no, he makes you feel very comfortable and stay, That was what I liked about him.
There's always a joke, a sideline that is made because to set the tone of the town hall that it's not too serious.
I remember it was in 2019, on the 27th of March, we had a town hall meeting with Mteto and Pia, and since then we saw changes at Netstar.
You can see how things started changing at all our organization, how the company started to improve, how employees started to be happy, how each and every individual embrace Mteto as their team player.
Everybody was just everywhere, but now we are a family now. We look after each other. There's that thing, man. We are family. Yeah.
It really was something that he wanted to do and do exceedingly well. And I think within 18 months of him being there was visible change. And in no time, the share price of Altron was actually the best performing share in the sector of, I think, ICT, technology. And that was not a fluke. It was followed the following year by the same. And so, you know, I have a thing about saying he is the doctor of sick companies. You know, that's how I normally refer to him, because in every assignment that he has done, he's always gone for the difficult tasks of changing companies or transforming companies that were struggling in one way or the other. He always wants those challenges. He doesn't get a kick from, you know, minor improvements or maintenance of companies that have just been, you know, doing okay. He wants to transform them. So he was chuffed by how the organization was able, ahead of their plans, how you know, the performance had brought so much smiles, you know, to the shareholders. The organization has brought so much smiles to the staff. You know, the belief in this one Altron organization. You know, remember there was Bytes, there was this, there was that, but everyone was just so proud to be part of this, you know, Altron, you know, group.
I've chosen family because basically Mteto's first speech to Altronians, I remember it was the 1st of April 2017, and he spoke to 4 key points that define who he is, and family was one of those 4. He had been into the office for around 3 days, and he realized that some people were working very late till 8-9 p.m. and to him it didn't sit very well, because he is a family person. He's not a person who's going to miss dinner with his family for the sake of the company. Family is who he is. Everything begins from the family, so he will sacrifice time for his family. That's who he is up to date, and he really encouraged all of us to remember, in as much as we are passionate about our work, let us also remember to save time for our families. And if you look at the policies that he then introduced through HR, the flexibility of working hours, they were really driven by that familyness, you know, the family mind that Mteto has. He's not here to, you know, destroy your family and build the company, but he's here to build the company that is family oriented.
What inspires my dad is, I think the biggest thing is his family. My mom and I, he definitely wants to support us, ensure that we are taken care of. He wants to provide the best for us. So that's a big reason that he's inspired.
He referenced his family. He brought it in that he is a family man, and how he actually embraces family and believes in, you know, that family type environment. It extended to the fact that Altron was almost a family environment, even though we are so large. I mean, large corporates of this nature typically get lost in, you know, to certain things, and he tried to bring that in as well. But also, you know, when you hear that somebody of that level has that family way of thinking, you know, it just gives you that comfort that we're working towards also things for like our families personally as well. It was nice that he brought that into his conversations and in his books and things like that.
And for me, I mean, I went through a lot. I lost so much, so many people, loved ones and all. And just that initiative, that you know, that connecting idea that he did on Fridays, Connection Fridays, I thought, you know, he may have thought it's just a thing, and other people may have thought it's a small thing, but that small thing, you know, made a huge difference. It just told people, me, I don't know about other people, that what people go through in his organization matters to him, you know.
The request specifically it's not any manager that thinks around what are my staff going through. People do care, but they don't really sometimes show it. And I think him coming out saying, this is what I want to do for my staff, says a lot about him as a person. It says a lot about his values. It says a lot about the fact that he is a people's person. He's a caring person. He notices that events might affect staff, which might affect the bottom line. So I was just taken aback by how in tune he was, how sensitive he was, and that he actually wanted to look at what can the organization do to make it easier or to just lighten the burden that staff might be experiencing emotionally.
That you can have a CEO and MD in this instance, but if you don't know what your people are going through, how are you going to lead them? And I think that is what Mteto brought to this table, that he was able to connect to the ground, literally, the ground people, the foot soldiers of this company, about what leadership looks like, and also the fact that he can actually empathize, he can be a human being and talk to them and socialize with them.
From the year that he started, I will never forget that we started getting bonus for the first time at the whole of Netstar, the year that Mteto started. It made us feel good, like people see us.
Phenomenal leader. I mean, just, yeah. Like I said, I've been with Altron for a very long time, and I've seen a number of leaders, and he's done a phenomenal job at changing Altron to an excellent organization. I mean, where people are proud to say we work for Altron. I know this, I've seen it. I've seen it in teams, I've led big teams, and I've seen people turn around and say, you know, we are happy that we actually work for Altron. And I think one of the areas that it really resonated with was when COVID hit. People were very scared. I mean, the world was in turmoil, and people were very proud to say, okay, shucks, we work for Altron. He was extremely fair in that, and yeah, from a leader perspective, he did a phenomenal job.
The one word I've picked is the word ethical, because Mteto brought in the Altron values when he started within the group, and whatever happened, whatever the situation was, if there was something that went wrong, he will stand by his values. And to me, he's always been that ethical person. It doesn't matter your position, it doesn't matter who, what race, whatever. If you've done something wrong, he'll treat it ethically. And at the same time, he will also be open and he will inform all the staff about it.
Consistently in the 3 years, whenever you interact with him, wherever you listen to his interviews, whether it be through media, he always says values drive organization. And being in learning and development, I believe that that's what resonates with him, and you can see it in the organizations that he's led before us, that the moment you change values and culture, you transform an organization.
I mean, to take on any big organization, you got to be brave. You got to know exactly what you want to do with it, what you want to make of it at the end of the day. So I think that definitely suits his character, absolutely.
Mandela. I just see Mteto as a very wise man. He grew up with his mom, and I read his book and the story he tells in there, and he's just so one of us, and so normal and human. And I see him as Mandela, a wise man.
It's something that I used to admire with our first president, Nelson Mandela. Whenever people try to give him props about what he has done in leading the struggle and everything, he would always say, with my comrades. And it's the same kind of thing I see with Mteto. He never takes credit as an individual. He always looks at the team made us do it. Yes, I'm the face of the organization, but there's a team that made it possible. And I think it is something that, for me, as a leader in my own organization, I've learned that acknowledge people, acknowledge their contributions. Yes, you may have been the one who's the face, but you were the one who had to actually, yes, make sure that things are coordinated, but make sure that people are acknowledged. And he's a team man.
I'm sad, I don't want to lie. When the announcement came that he's leaving the organization, I was saddened, but I was happy because he has done what he needed to do for Altron. Altron 5 years ago was in a mess. And what he has done in this instance was to turn it around, give us hope, and also just to give us a sense of being. And when I mean being, is that being part of this organization, because I think a lot of us just felt that we're not part of this organization.
Mina futhi kahle kahle bengimbizi president, dimnandi iqiniso. Bengithi president, ngithi my president. Even abantwana bami ngikhuluma nabo, ngithi i-president namhlanje. Ngisho lento engiyikhuluma nayo ukuthi ngithi i-president yami ngi-proud and hayi halala lapha yakhona halala bazophila kamnandi phambili Mphethe iqhawe hero phambili ngeqhawe lamakhosi phambili.
As you bid farewell to Altron, I am certain your authentic voice, caring counsel, wise intuitive guidance will resonate eternally in several boardrooms that you have occupied, creating many Mtetos that will follow in your footsteps. Nqatshuoke Dlambulo, walk with pride with your head held high as you take your steps to the next chapter. Those with ears have heard, those with eyes have seen, and those that will realize they were blessed by your presence will water the seeds that you have sown, and may all of humanity reap the fruits from everything you imparted. Eternally a great leader, deserving of your flowers while you still can smell them. These, Bele, are my flowers to you.